So we're trying something new here. Some stories from the ecosystem, because the ecosystem is growing and growing in the Netherlands. More and more people are involved, different sectors, and that's what we're trying to combine with the Dutch Blockchain Hackathon. As I mentioned before, we have this collaborative portal, this community website, where you can post your story when you think it's relevant for the community, or any other story or news that is relevant for the community. We see it already happening, but you're more than welcome to do so. And to do it, we want to do it on each ecosystem meetup as well. So when you have a cool story to tell in a stand-up like we're doing now, email me before, and then we can talk about it. So first, I would like to give the mic to André de Kok, because we have a first use case for the hackathon, and what's it called in English? The State Service of the Netherlands for Identity Management, basically, and identity data. We all know identity is a very, very big question mark on blockchain. Many people are thinking about it and experimenting. There are many different opinions about it, and I think it will be very interesting to hear what kind of opportunity we have at the blockchain hackathon. André, can you tell us a bit more about the agency you're working for, and what you've been doing with blockchain, and why did it lead to basically the use case?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm working for the Ministry of Home Affairs, and within the Ministry of Home Affairs there's a very small bank. And within that bank there are a few assets. And that assets are, in my opinion, more valuable than money. And those assets are three things: identity, identity data, and the carrier of both. We are the central bank of the Netherlands of those three things. So in some perspective, I feel also a little bit of a banker. I don't. But not only are we a banker, we also a big IT company. And when you are a bank, and when you are an IT company, you look at the future. And when you are also carrying valuable assets like identity, and when you're carrying very valuable assets like identity data of, I think, almost everybody who's here in the room, then you have a very big responsibility to the community. And we think we have an obligation to look at the future, how we can provide the community with much more valuable, much more economic and social valuables if we look at the participants of the blockchain. That's why we are looking at the future. What can it mean to us? The main banker here says, what's our core business? Our core business is trust. I'm from the government. Our core business is also trust. We have to carry that trust to the future. And our biggest challenge is, how do we do that in a safe way that we can reuse that trust, and everybody can reuse that trust to their own advantage. That's the main reason why we're participating.
Great. So basically, it would be really cool if we can have some kind of identification method on the blockchain, so we can, for instance, tell an online liquor store our age, and then it's okay. You shouldn't click the drop-down menus and lie about it when you're 16. So anyway, Marloes, you're working with André, but you're also working with a lot of other governmental agencies on blockchain projects. Can you tell us a bit about how it's going? Because in June you were on stage as well.
Yes. I'm Marloes Pomp. I'm the project leader of 25 pilots within the Dutch government. But the last time there were 10, 15, so we're scaling up. At the end of this month, we will present the results of the first 12 user cases. We will present it to Bas Eenhoorn. And I will also tweet it, so you can find it online. At this moment, I try to set up a blockchain team for the Dutch government, and we're also working on a blockchain lab where we can experiment. And I hope to work with all of you the next year, and we try to scale up and have more real working prototypes. So I hope I will meet a lot of you next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. In that perspective, I think Egbert-Jan is the best one to follow up. Egbert-Jan from TNO. Can you explain a little bit about what TNO is doing at the moment and what it's doing with blockchain? Because,
Well, I'm not going to say exactly what TNO is all doing because we are involved in a lot of activities in the Netherlands. I'm running the Smart Industry program in the Netherlands where we have these field labs. And field labs is really a cooperation between different companies and institutions like TNO and educational institutions. What we want to do is these field labs, and I give a few examples of them. One is in Rotterdam with the container transport, where the TU Delft is involved, we are involved, ABN, more than 11 people, organizations are involved. A field lab on how to handle all the information around containers is one example with 3 use cases. In Heerlen with APG, we are involved with use cases in the field lab on the Brightland Service Campus in Heerlen. The use case with APPG and, PPPG and APG on value transfer in pensions. How can we put that on the blockchain? There is also a discussion on business coins between small suppliers with local coins, really small suppliers who can deliver to each other and then have it done with these business coins. The problem there, of course, is a little bit if one miner with his old equipment starts to hack on a business coin, you get into problems. So, but these things need to be investigated. On property ownership, and not so much what is in the cadastre, but more what is all involved in this building, we are discussing on blockchains. There is also one with the hospital on access to patient data and the traceability, who has this access to it, and then you need, of course, the ID stuff in it. All these kinds of activities are on and running. Now, the ambition is to have at least 5 major national blockchain applications up and running in a couple of years. If you do the calculations for it, you can come down to a figure of about 500 knowledgeable people on blockchains we need to be able to run a blockchain. For the next version of it, to converse blockchains, to make the right decisions. If you want to have 500 people in 4 years' time active and really skilled on blockchain, you need to have about 100 next years. And here's a real challenge. Where do we find these people? You cannot wait for the universities to have the output of them. It takes 4 years for a PhD to get to that stage. So this is where we have a problem. If you then calculate that we have multiple field labs, maybe in Groningen, maybe in Amsterdam on finance, maybe in Rotterdam and these industrial ones, you will notice that there is a lot of commonality in them. And the challenge now is really, because we don't have that many people, and those people working in these field labs really have to communicate with each other. What is happening here? What is happening there? How can we do this? We want to set up this blockchain core competence center, the BC3. And there we want to really do the commonality to bring the people really together and not have it 3 times copied, but really have it in one group, the common topics, as well as the scientific topics and the education part. Because we also have to set up education. And we cannot do that anymore in the traditional way with lecturing, setting up. We really have to have it up and running by February next year. But also, if you start thinking, how can we accelerate this again? How can we accelerate this? If you look upon internet developments, that blockchain, or at least the whole cryptocurrencies and all the things, it's going twice as fast as internet. So we really have to have these hackathons as well. The ideas there are, try to implement them in a weekend and see them as a start for these field labs to continue on with the larger parties, with the startups in it, and with the knowledge institutes all together.
Great, thank you. So, startups working together with corporates. I think it was at this stage where Bas de Vries was pitching, and then ING invited Bas to work together, and they now basically work together. And I think Lodewijk Bonebakker can tell a little bit more about the ICAC Center, what you're doing there, right?
Thank you. So I'm the head of the ICAC, which is the Innovation Lab for ING. I've been involved in working together with Florin.
Yeah.
And we also host the blockchain team of ING. So we have a few very proud engineers slaving away on the first floor with techniques that they can't explain to anybody else but themselves, and me, of course, and Mark, and we are very proud of that. But we do more. We also have a program called the Innovation Studio. And in the Innovation Studio, we try to work together as a corporate with startups. And this is not the first time we're doing it. This is actually the 4th year we'll be doing it. And we will be actively looking to solve some of ING's major problems towards the blockchain with the startups that we might encounter in the blockchain ecosystem. And what are you going to get from ING? You're going to get some help. And the help is, how do you articulate the business problem you're actually solving? Because I do some free consulting to blockchain companies as well. And they always tell me, Lodewijk, I have this cool technology. And I said, I don't care. What is the problem you're going to solve? Because the technology is the reason you talk to me. But the problem you're going to solve with me is the reason I'm going to pay you. And that is a crucial step forward for all of the startups. And everybody thinking about a startup and who wants my help, be up for a really tough conversation. But if you win the prize, you will get the help of ING. Thank you.
Great. So last but certainly not least, a couple of weeks ago there was a blockchain hackathon hosted by ABN AMRO, IBM, FinTech Holland on Hyperledger. And if I'm correct, we have the winner here. Where are you? One of the winners. Gausje, can you tell us a little bit more on, can we throw this catch box so we can... Yeah, great. So can you tell us more about how it went and what you learned from it, why you compete?
Yeah, so should I talk into this?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit closer.
This way?
Yeah,
okay,
perfect.
better. Yeah. Hi, so my name is Kaushik. I'm founder of 2Blockchain. We are a Dutch startup. And we built a solution actually for Dutch consumers so that they can easily see who has access to their data and for what purpose it is used. And they can also easily give or take away the permissions. And that was as part of a hackathon. So you had several questions in line. So
Yeah. So first of all, I mean, why did you win? what was so good about the solution? And what is it like for you as a team to go through this 48 or 24 hours that you went through?
Yeah. So why did you win? Actually, the jury knows why did we win. But
why did you think?
So in essence, taking part in hackathon is really very fulfilling experience. In this year itself, I've taken participation as a jury, but also as a member who is available as an expert, and finally as part of the team to actually work on a project. Mm-hmm. And what really happens is you work before a lot, right? And then finally in the last 2 days or in the 54 hours, you basically code the solution. And you do it basically because it's your passion, and you believe in the purpose that is being put forward as a team for the hackathon. And yeah, actually, as I said, it's a very fulfilling experience.
Mm-hmm. And are you going to take the solution forward?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm talking with the customer next to me. So yeah, we are going to take this forward.
Great, great. So what would your message be to the Dutch startup community? Because would you like some competition?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the person who was there, he told it very rightfully. You know, we really don't understand when we start what we are doing. And also from ING, it was mentioned, you know, if you win, you have our help in articulating what problem you are solving. And I think that is very key. As a startup, you really don't understand, or let's say you don't articulate it well enough for business people to invest in you, or somebody to write a check to you and say, oh, here is your purchase order, build a blockchain for us. So I think that is very crucial. And I would say, you know, if you are a developer or if you are a wannabe developer, you know, take part in hackathon because you can meet a lot of people. You can find a nice network. Of course, you can land a nice job if you are looking for one. And in the end, you can actually prove what you can do.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.